Hello, and welcome to 5 Minutes with Nate. This month's topic is reading. Now, really, reading could be a full year's worth of topics, but there are other topics that I want to touch on this year. So, this is our last episode focusing on reading for the year. Now, I want to talk about deaf role models for reading. So, I have four concepts for today. First, really, ASL should be a foundation for students to develop their reading skills. If students have a strong ASL, you can use that, take advantage of that to make applications to English learning. English is not an easy language for hearing as well. Means if you have a strong language, you can use that to help explain English nouns, English verbs, English structure. What does it look like? Compare it with ASL. Help students really understand the linguistic foundations of it all. When you are writing drafts, for example, start with sign, then make a kind of messy outline, then an outline, then write it. Start with ASL, what they know, and then transition to the English writing. I've seen students where they'll start writing and they'll jump into the middle of it, and then they don't think through. They get stuck. The grammar's odd. And I ask them why, and it's like, well, I just started writing. It's important to use ASL first. Use ASL read alouds. Use ASL structure to help teach the students. You can ask an ASL specialist for help in this area. Second concept is kind of like we just talked about. ASL is an important start. There's not many programs that focus on ASL for reading, but there are a few. I've heard some like Fingerspell Your Way to Reading, Fairview, NRSC, their approach. There's a few more, but maybe it's worth looking at these programs, seeing what benefits they have, and pulling from them to add to the curriculum that you already have for reading. You can ask your reading specialist for help with that. Use deaf adults, number 3, as role models for read alouds, videos, interactions. If you are a deaf teacher, please open your thinking about reading. Open up your brain and model for the students. Let them see in your head. What are you thinking about? Model how to read, how to think in ASL and make those connections. That modeling is very important. Same time, you want students to see that reading may be hard, but you can become a successful deaf adult just like this person. Let me go back and add a little bit more to that. And we also need to respect the deaf experience. Deaf teachers, you know how to read. And how did that happen? What works for you? Maybe it doesn't work for every kid, of course, but share with each other how you read. How did you learn? Maybe you'll find a student who struggles, and your approach, your thoughts are going to help that student. Okay, now number 4. Read about deaf people. There's not many books about deaf people, and they tend to be kind of the same people again and again and again. It's still worth it. If a student feels that connection, they're going to be more motivated for reading. So I have a link at the end to a group called Language First, and they have a list of children's books with deaf characters. You can read those. There's also nonfiction. Biographies. There's a few. Now it tends to be Helen Keller, Dummy Hoy, those kind of characters. But there's history. There's deaf school history. There's history about Gallaudet and Clerk. And recently, there was a deaf football team in California that won the state championships. It became big news. They went to the Super Bowl and were honored there. Read about that. Give students representation. It's important for diverse students to see their diversity reflected in their reading. It's the same for the deaf. Students want to see their identity, their cultural group represented. And we also need diversity represented. Our students are both deaf and a cultural being. So we want to show that diversity through the reading. So that's your 4 tips for today. Next year, we'll have to discuss more about reading because it is such an important topic. Thank you. Have a great day.